This is the lesson for Chapter 1, Section 3, Solving Equations with Variables on Both Sides, day number 2. So on our first problem here, what's different is that we have the distributive property to deal with first. So I've got to distribute the 2 over both terms. So I've got 2n minus 6 equals 4n plus 1. And so from there, at this point, it just becomes a problem like we saw yesterday. We have to just subtract the 2n from both sides and bring this constant to the opposite side of the equal sign. So in this case, here I'm getting negative 7, and over here I'm getting equals negative 2n. And so from this point, I can go ahead and divide by negative 2, and you'll see how the negative signs cancel, and you can leave the answer as 3 and 5/10, 3 and 1/2, or in an algebra sense, sometimes the teacher just likes it as 7/2. So on this problem, we've got lots of fractions. So we're going to distribute this 1/4 over both of these terms first. I've got 1/6 d plus 2/3 equals, and then I've got 1/4 d minus 2/4, which makes 1/2. So from this point, I can go ahead and bring terms together, or I could get rid of these fractions. If I wanted to get rid of the fractions all in one step, I'd multiply by a number that's going to cancel out a 6, a 3, a 4, and a 2 all in one step. And so if I look at these, I see 12. 12 is the multiple that is larger than each of the numbers that each of those values goes into. So if you multiply by 12 on all of these numbers, you'll reduce them. So like for instance, 6 goes into 12 2 times, 3 goes into 12, we have 4 times, 4 goes into 12 3 times, 2 goes into 12 6 times, and then multiplying across gives me 2d plus 8 equals 3d minus 6. And so from this point we can go ahead and solve, and we'll do that by just doing opposite operations. We'll subtract the 2d from both sides, we'll add the 6 and come up with our answer. So 14 is the value of d. So moving on to the next problem here, I've got, it says trail mix. The equation that gives me this equation represents the number p of pounds of peanuts you will need to make trail mix. How many pounds of peanuts do you need for the trail mix? So I'm going to first distribute 4 and 5/10 over both of those terms. So I've got 4 and 5/100 p plus 14 and 4/10 equals, and then 4 and 5/10 p, and then plus, now I'm doing 3 times this value. So that makes 15, carry 1, makes 13, move the decimal over, so 13 and 5/10. So now I'm just moving terms from one side to the other. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract the 4 and 5/100 p from 4 and 5/10. I'm going to subtract that 13 and 5/10 from 14 and 4/10. And so when I do that, this leaves me with 0.45 p. I have to add the 0 and then do a little borrowing to be able to get that number. Here I have to borrow and I get 9/10. So now we're ready to divide. So I'm dividing 45/100 into 9/10. So I'm moving the decimal 2 spaces over. That means 2 spaces in the dividend also. So really I'm doing 45 into 90, which goes 2 times. So p equals 2 pounds. Looking at the next problem here, it says that a polygon is regular if all the sides, if each of the sides has the same length. Find the perimeter of the regular polygon. So this is we want to find the perimeter, that's the distance around. So we want to find out what x is. So I know this side equals this side, so I'm going to go ahead and set 3 times by the difference of x and 1, set that equal to 5x minus 6. So I'm distributing here, so I get 3x minus 3 equals 5x minus 6. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract the 3x from all sides, add the 6 to all sides, and that leaves me with 3 equals 2x. So when I divide by 2, I get 1 and 5/10 equals x. So what they wanted me to do, though, is they want me to find out what the length or the perimeter is. So I'm going to find out one of the sides. So I'm going to do this one, 3 times x minus 1. So I substitute in 3 times 1.5 minus 1. This gives me 5/10 times 3, which just half of 3 is 1.5. But that's just one side. Now I have to multiply by 5 sides. And so when I do that, this ends up giving me 1 5/10 times by 5 gives me 7.5 units. Don't know what the units are, but we'll just say 7.5 units. So in this next problem, it says sending a DVD in the express delivery service envelope costs the same. Okay, same means equal as sending the DVD in priority service box. What is the weight of the DVD with its packing material? So right here we've got an equation we can set up. So we've got 2.25, and then the priority is $2.50 per pound. So it depends on the number of pounds. So we're going to say P equals number of pounds. Number of pounds for the item being mailed. For item being mailed. So now we have an idea about what they're talking about here. And so number of pounds for item being mailed, and this includes that packing material. And so now we're ready to go ahead and set up an equation. So we've got 2.25 plus the $2.50 times P, and then this equals, and so let's see here. Let's see, 1.5, so 2.25. So this equals, and then we've got, let's go ahead and fix this real quick here. Let's go ahead and erase this for a second. So we've got the packing material, the priority, and the express. And so we've got $2.25 for the packing material. So we've got 2.5 times P plus the $2.25. We had that initially. That was this part here for the box. And then that's for the priority, and then the express is different. They charge $8.50 for the express, and so for a for an envelope, because they had the envelope here, so we had to read over here, and it says that for the express we're using the envelope, and then we're going to end up setting it equal to 1.1 plus $8.50 per pound. And so here we had the express, service used the envelope cost the same as the priority and box. We had to look to see which one we were dealing with. And so from this point, all I'm going to do is just opposite operations, subtract the 2.5 from both sides, and I'll go ahead and subtract the 1 1/10 from both sides, and that leaves me with 1 15/100 equals 6p. And so I'm dividing by 6, and that ends up giving me about, and they said round to the hundredths place, it's about 0.19, a 1900ths of a pound is what that ends up being. So those are the types of problems that we're going to end up seeing on tonight's assignment. Good luck.